The Florida Podcast Network, the voice of Florida.
From Mallory Square in Key West to the Governor's Mansion in Tallahassee and all points beyond, you're listening to the Florida Beer Podcast, powered by FloridaBeerBlog.com, your source for all things related to the craft beer community in the Sunshine State. And now your host, Dave Butler.
And we are ready for another episode of the Florida Beer Podcast, powered by FloridaBeerBlog.com. This is Dave, your host and author. Got some more brew festivals coming up in the near future. But before I get into that, I want to thank our incredible equipment sponsor, Mainline Marketing. As you'll be able to hear on the entirety of this episode, everything sounds crisp and clean and was recorded, on my end at the very least, with the new Shure MV7 mic set that Mainline Marketing hooked me up with. It is the perfect podcasting mic. Sound quality is amazing. It's easy to use, literally plug and play. I know that because that's exactly what I did. Definitely check them out right now. The link is in the show notes. And the other links that are in the show notes are to follow us on social media. We are at Florida Beer Blog on Instagram and Twitter when they're operating. And if Facebook is still up, it's FL Beer Blog. You can find us there. You can also find us online at FloridaBeerPodcast.com, FloridaBeerBlog.com, and FloridaPodcastNetwork.com. We are a proud member of them, and I cannot wait for you to hear about some of the new shows that are coming up. Like I said, we have a number of awesome beer festivals, and today we're going to be talking about two brand new ones, which is exciting. By the time this episode is released, they are probably sold out, which is a shame, but if you do have tickets to return to Joyland at Orlando's Ivanhoe Park Brewing, you are a lucky, lucky little camper now, aren't you? We're going to speak with owner Glenn Closson about the event and how they decided to turn this annual anniversary beer release into a full-fledged Central Florida beer fest. Hopefully this will wet your whistle if you're going, and if not, then you'll keep an eye out for when the next one comes around. Enjoy! So the event is called Return to Joyland Days, and I find it interesting that as a brewery, you keep coming back to Joyland. You keep coming back to this little known nugget of Orlando's past. Before we even talk about the Beer Fest, why does Joyland inspire so much creativity and homeliness for the team at Ivanhoe Park?
Yeah, I mean, Joyland was obviously what Ivanhoe Park or Russell's Point was renamed in 1915. So I think we like Ivanhoe Park as kind of the name that brings that history, but Joyland almost has a fun twist to it. So every year for our anniversary, we'll want to kind of go back and pay respect to that homage. We have a couple beer releases that are going to be also named in that. I mean, we do have our Toboggan Blonde, we have our Joyland IPA. So a lot of our branding went back with that. And we just thought it was a really interesting concept that literally on Lake Ivanhoe that you can see from our patio had such history. Reason being, Orlando is known for, the theme parks, but, when it's way before Disney, SeaWorld, or SeaWorld or Universal were even an idea, back in 1910, there was Central Florida's first amusement park. So, a lot of downtown Orlando is trying to, express the fact that there's more than just theme parks in Orlando. We have a lot of great breweries that have opened up in the past, 5 years. So I think, getting that word out there that, yeah, we get it, there's theme parks, but there's so much else you could be doing in Orlando, just kind of has that fun environment and just kind of drives people out rather than going to the parks all day.
No, absolutely. And so obviously you decided to create this beer fest. I guess, what was the reasoning? What was the idea behind having a beer fest for you and your closest friend?
So a lot of our theme that we all every day think about is a commitment to community. I think, that was just kind of one of our random mottos at the beginning, but you see it on our website. It's on the side of our case trays that go out with our 16-ounce cans. I think that's just something we always try to strive by. So a commitment to community, not only for like the fact that we do like family day, dog day, things that drive traffic to have people come out and, have a good time, but also a commitment to community as far as the craft beer community. So I think, we have a different market than, maybe Sideward or Tactical does. And I think being able to present their products in front of the people that come to our tap room all the time is only going to help educate that consumer that, there's more beers out there, there's more breweries, and just kind of come out, have a good time. And, you're supporting all these breweries because we'll be buying the beer from them. So it's not like a normal donation type event. And we're just hoping everybody kind of comes out and has a good time.
That's amazing. And I guess there's so many beer festivals out there. And speaking to a lot of brewers, they tend to regard them for the most part as just cash grabs, donate your beer and we'll pocket all the money. Obviously, you're going to be purchasing the beer from these breweries, which is excellent. Are there other things that you and your team really wanted to do when it came time to creating the concept of this beer fest to make things a little bit different?
Yeah, I mean, first off, like you said, we are buying the beer. I think that's just kind of a good faith thing. Like, we're not trying to turn a profit on this. We're trying to have fun. Tickets are only $35, which is pretty low on the spectrum of other beer fests out there. So it's, we're hoping to even just break even, or, we might even take a little bit of a loss, but we see it more as a benefit of, having a fun event, people coming out. And we got the nice little 5-ounce can shaped glassware for the event to kind of have something to commemorate the event and take home. And we're going to allow the breweries to pick what 2 beers they want to bring. And I know a lot of them are excited to come out. So they're going to try to represent their best beer and not just go, in the back of the cellar and see what they need to move. They're going to bring something that they want to promote with their best foot forward, because we know a lot of craft beer drinkers are going to come out for this one.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about the beer then, obviously. As much as I love the Park Hopper Golden Pilsner that you have, that we talked about earlier, I would assume that you're going to be coming with slightly bigger guns, shall we say.
Definitely. So yeah, every year we release Return to Joyland, which is our triple IPA. And that thing just is amazing. It's just over 10% alcohol, but I mean, just the characteristics of hops and malts that come with that one. We usually sell out of that one within, a week or so. And we kind of have fun with it where we work with our distributor, and it's the quickest moving triple IPA. We usually have it on the shelf within 24 hours of canning, just to kind of keep it fresh. And most of those retailers, we keep it limited to maybe 15 to 20 retailers, and all of them go through 2 to 3 cases within that day, just because we are trying to promote this is a triple IPA. You can technically cellar it. And, some breweries out there do mention that they do want it cellared, but we're more so on the fact that, we want to have people appreciate this one fresh as they can. So within 24 hours off the canning line, they're already drinking that beer. We want to kind of show the freshness of it. 2 other beers that were coming out. Tears for Years is our Imperial Stout that we release every year as well for our anniversary. So it's just birthday cake stout. We change it up a little bit each year. Last year we had coconut. This year is chocolate. So we're just changing the recipe slightly for that one. And then the final beer that we'll be releasing is a brand new one. It's a 1915 California Common or Steam beer. And it's named 1915 just because that was the year that Ivanhoe Park was renamed Joyland. And then we're trying to pay homage to the classic steam beer style that Anchor Steam has made famous. But a lot of people actually enjoy those styles, and just bringing back the history of that style.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. It's unfortunately not a style that gets a whole lot of love, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be interested to try that. Yeah. With the breweries that are going to be participating, and you have sort of a who's who of Central Florida brewing that are going to be represented, which is amazing. I mean, you take a look at the event, obviously Ivanhoe Park is going to be there, but you got Ellipsis and 3 Odd Guys, Motorworks, Deviant Wolf, Sideward. Any special beers that they're going to be coming with? Any sneak previews that you can drop?
So we are doing a couple collaborations that will be ready to release with it. One's with Intracoastal and Deviant Wolf. So those are going to be kind of fun one-off, specifically brewed for this event. They're going to have it available in their taproom as well. We're just going to split it up 3 ways and kind of make it work that way. But other than that, I know a lot of them are bringing their big game. We're locking that in this week and next week. So we should have a list coming out with what breweries are bringing what, hopefully by early next month.
That's awesome. Unfortunately, we do have to kind of talk about the elephant in the room, because we are still currently working with COVID and Delta variant and whatnot. What sort of things did you and your team put in place or conceptualize to make the beer fest still fun, but obviously safe as well?
Yeah, so we're inviting just 25 breweries. I mean, we wish we could invite more. I know Tampa Bay just announced their Badass Beerfest coming up in November, and they had to limit their breweries to 20 this year because they're calling it the Little Badass Beerfest. So we're keeping it around 25, all local breweries, and we're doing it all in the parking lot. So it's going to be outside the whole time, spread out pretty well, and, just limiting it to 200 tickets. So that'll make sure we kind of keep the numbers down. It's all outside, and, we're being as safe as possible as far as these variants that are coming out.
No, absolutely. It sounds like a great time, and it sounds like tickets are probably going to go fast. Hopefully there will still be some tickets available once this episode releases. And if there are, where can people go?
So it's just through our website. You could go through our social media. We have a link tree on there that takes us to the online ordering system, or you could link it through the website, the order online now button. But we have it there in the taproom events. It's inclusive with either doing it right now. It's $35 this Friday, October 1st. It's going to be $45 for entrance. And then we also have our annual pass holder program, which we're running through the whole time. And it's $150 for the annual pass holder program, but that includes VIP party only for annual pass holders on Friday night, the event on Saturday for the beer fest, and then Sunday we're also doing a hangover. So it's just all inclusive of that. And because it is our first year doing the annual pass holder program, we're actually getting a lot of cool stuff and pulling out the stops. So they're going to get a nice little VIP swag bag when they check in Friday night, and year-round discounts and parties that we're going to be having just for annual pass holders.
That's awesome. And I definitely took a look at the swag that you posted on Instagram, and I'm very, very jealous of everybody that gets to go. So thank you so much. I do appreciate it. And you save some of that triple IPA for me, okay?
All right, will do. We'll see you soon.
From Orlando, we are going to head west on I-4 and jump from there to 275, take a few bridges, and eventually land in Clearwater, the main production home of Big Storm Brewing. And if you've been following Big Storm for the past couple of years, they are very proud partners for Ales for ALS, which is a nationwide event to raise funds and awareness for ALS. This year, instead of just releasing the beer, they decided to do a full-on Ales for ALS Brewfest at their Clearwater location. So we're going to speak with owner LG Govoni. He is a big, big friend of the podcast, so we're very happy to have him on here again to talk about why they decided to connect with Ales for ALS and why they decided that this year is the best year to do a Brewfest. Enjoy. Tell me a little bit about Ales for ALS. Like, what is it and how did they get started?
Sure. So they are a group that is using beer, right, to raise money for ALS funding and research. So for cures for ALS research. A nationwide event. Brewers across the country are participating. I think they have 2, maybe 3, I just can't remember, different hop varietals to choose from. And then every business makes a donation that works for them, right? So a flat donation, a donation on every unit sold, the donation on every keg brewed. There's a minimum suggested donation, but at the core of what they do is they're using craft beer as a vehicle to help raise money for funding and to funding and research into cures for ALS.
And this is not the first year that Big Storm has been working with Ales for ALS. You've done this for a couple of years now. What about this particular organization appealed to the Big Storm team?
Sure. I mean, first and foremost, it's an obvious great cause, right? I could not imagine if one of my family members, myself, my wife, was diagnosed with ALS, that'd be a very tough day. So, doing a very simple thing, right, brewing, and then using proceeds from that beer to help fund research was always, the easiest part. Is there, quote, is there anything more we can do for you? I think has always been the question. So, which kind of leads us to where we are this year with the Brewfest and our exciting involvement in our Clearwater facility. But, I think anytime you get asked, like everyone else across the country has participated, this is just a very easy yes.
Awesome. And obviously you're going to be stepping it up this year, and the Big Storm in Clearwater, I guess sort of the home for Big Storm, is going to be having a beer festival this year.
Yeah, that's right. So we're really excited. As you may know, we've got the new roof line out there in the beer garden and the bathrooms in a building outside of our brew pub in Clearwater. And so, we can safely accommodate a considerably large crowd. And, I'm not even sure how it started with us hosting, but the conversations we've had with them over the last 6 months of what's going on in Florida. Can you give us the lay of the land? Who else should we talk to? Who else should we get to do this? Kind of one thing evolves into another. And again, as I said a second ago, it's what else can we do for you? What else could we do to help you all raise more money efficiently? That was a conversation, and it turned to a beer fest in Clearwater, turned into us using part of the parking lot, which unfortunately became a real regulatory nightmare. It shouldn't have been, but it did become. And then it's quickly evolved. What's that?
I find that interesting.
Yeah. But I get it, right? Like we have areas of our property that are zoned for consumption and areas that aren't zoned for consumption. It's not that they can't be, they just aren't. And so we found a structure that is going to be very efficient for them. And we've got participating, I think we've got 7 or 9 breweries participating already, a bunch of maybes, right? Again, as before we hopped on here, you briefly mentioned about, Delta variant and other things of safety. Some of the smaller groups just aren't sure what they're going to be doing. I know at the very least, a lot more breweries have committed to brewing a beer because they've been asked to participate at this beer fest. And at first it was those who only brewed the beer can come. And then it quickly evolved to listen to anybody that wants to help raise money, come and go or come and participate. I'm sorry. And, let's have a great day. And again, it's all about raising money for research.
Awesome. Yeah, you mentioned a bunch of stuff in there. I guess I want to talk about the Delta variant and COVID. And, obviously it still hasn't gone completely away, unfortunately.
Sure.
And especially since you're going to have, a large group of people, even though it's outside, what sort of things did you want to take into account and sort of work and tweak as you start building out the plans for the Brewfest to take into account COVID?
Sure. Look, that's a really loaded topic that ultimately, if people don't feel safe, they're not going to come, and we do not raise money. And that defeats the entire purpose, right? So short of being outside, having constant air movement, having our hand sanitizer readily available everywhere, having single-use cups available on top of the commemorative cup, what we're doing is we're leaving anything someone else wants to do that makes them feel safe up to them. And we're going to do our part to, again, wide open air movement in a clean space. But outside of that, I think it's really focused on just having a good, fun event.
Awesome. Since ALS or ALS is pretty well known, was it sort of a slam dunk for a number of the breweries that you invited to come to the event just because they knew it, they knew what it was for, they knew where that money sort of goes?
Yeah, I think listen, I would love to tell you today we had more people, and I hope this podcast will kind of get some people off the sidelines. Business right now is just still uncertain, right? So I assume some of these people that have not given hard yeses are because they just don't know what's happening in their business, or they don't know what they can commit to. And that's 100% reasonable and understandable. The ones that have committed already were instant yeses, right? There are a good handful of people that are maybes that I'm counting them as yeses. They're going to come. They're going to bring beer, and they're going to help raise money. But I think, look, this is certainly a bigger conversation on a very dreary topic, right? But the toll from COVID has not come due yet for many of our small businesses. And so I don't think it's unreasonable. Like, they want to be here, they want to do their part, but they're also saying, if I brew that beer and I don't sell that beer, or sell through that beer, I have to dump that beer, and what do I do with rent and payroll, right? So I will say it's been a very uniquely challenging event to manage, and to help coordinate and to help recruit for, but certainly not because people don't want to do something in this group. I think everyone, the call to action is a very easy call to action. It's just the can they, not do they want to, it's the can they. So not the will they, but the can they.
Interesting. And for the ones that they can, and they obviously did, especially Big Storm, let's talk about the beer itself. What are you bringing? Anything special? Do you know if anybody else is doing something that's a little bit outside their wheelhouse just to make the event a little bit more enticing?
Yeah, I do think that we're going to see some really cool stuff from some of the small breweries in Pekala that are participating. not that it's competition, but I think a lot of people are kind of keeping that close to the vest a little bit. So I have nothing to tease you. Like I don't have the luxury today to say, oh man, someone's doing this, this, and this. But from the hop profiles that we could pick from allowed you to do some fun and unique stuff. And for us, obviously it's a little different for us. At any point in time, we can go in the back and pull something out of the cellar if we're so inclined. And we just might do that day. Let's see how the day is going. Let's see how the beer's flowing and how much fun we're having with everybody. And, I can only speak for us, but, maybe we'll have to go bust out some of that Belgian quintuple that we've already put back in the cellar.
That sounds amazing. So for the people that are actually going, what about cost and how can they get information and tickets?
Sure. So if you hop on Ales for ALS website, everything is right there. You can buy tickets right there. I think it's $40. There is a designated driver ticket as well. That's really just raising money, and it's a donation. We'll have food for sale day, so we want to make sure those that, are drinking get home safely, right? So that the designated drivers are really important. But honestly, that website is fantastic. It has all the information, has a running list of breweries as they commit. There's a much bigger list of on the fences that they're, waiting to push them onto the committed side. But that website, Ales for ALS, has everything there that you need, and you can buy your ticket right there. So there's no excuse not to buy it when you're on the website.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. And I hope that you are able to create an event that is not only a lot of fun, but also very helpful for a very, very worthy cause. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, you're welcome. And thank you for your part to help highlight this. Thanks so much.
Hello, this is producer Jemmy, founder of the Florida Podcast Network, here to thank our partner, Mainline Marketing. Great equipment can make the difference between an ordinary podcasting experience and one that is immersive and inspiring. The sound quality produced with the Shure MV7 podcasting microphone is simply far superior to other options on the market. The voice isolation technology will help you sound great, even when you're not in an expensive studio. But not only is the sound quality simply unreal, but the Shure MV7 podcasting mic is very easy to use with 2 output options. So whether your show format and setup call for you to plug your microphone into the USB port right on your computer or to use it with an XLR cable into your mixer, you'll find the setup is easy. The Shure MV7 sound quality is top-notch, and it's easy to use, versatile, and also looks really great for your social media shots. So thank you again to Mainline Marketing. Having won over 40 various achievement awards, Mainline Marketing has been the go-to audiovisual manufacturers industry rep since 1987. They can be trusted to bring you the best. Visit mainlinemarketing.com today and partner with them. And be sure once again to check out the MV7 podcasting microphone from Shure by going to shure.com. That's SHURE.com. Shure, turning a passion for making great microphones into an obsession.
So that is it for this week's episode. We definitely have a lot of great beer festivals that are coming up, and you're probably going to hear some more coming up here in the next couple of weeks and couple of episodes. If you do decide to go to any of them, make sure to let us know. Tag us on photos that you take and post to social media, and we will definitely be looking forward to those. Thank you so much. We will see you next week, and drink Florida Craft.